The whole. Here we go. Here we go. Well, good evening, everybody. Sorry, we're a minute late. Thanks to StreamYard for telling me we're a bit late. Welcome to the Studio Rats live Q&A with myself, James Ivy,
Paul Drew,
and Jack Duxbury.
The boys are in the house once again. I'm a bit posh to say it like that, aren't I? Really, the boys are in the house to once again solve your pro audio, guitar, katana, recording, your music woes. Quite frankly. Great to see everyone here so far. Andy Johnson's in the house. Phil McNally. Safey's here. Anderton's fan. Knock, knock. Matt Wright. Great to have you all with us. Analog Life's with us. Analog Full Life is with us. Get your questions in. What I'm going to do, as ever, is I'm going to post the link to the show, so come and join us. Again, newbies only, please. Newbies only. Come and join us. Stay for a bit. Chat. We'll do our best to sort your lives out, stuff like that, if you need it. I can't say my counselling skills are up there with my pro audio skills, but who knows? So here is the stream, the link and stuff. Gentlemen, what have you been up to this week?
Go on, Jack, you go first.
Oh, mainly wombat stemming.
Oh, no.
A lot of stemming, but I also got delved into my what they called sound dust library. I don't know if you ever used any sound dust instruments.
No,
sounds good though.
They are my favorite. He's a guy down in Brighton, and they're kind of quirky virtual instruments. But when I'm feeling a bit bereft of inspiration, I turn to sound dust, and I read the manual, and I've been playing with that and had a great time.
Oh, nice one. Well, I've been upsetting the internet by releasing an anti-Spark video.
It had to happen sooner or later, mate.
People didn't like that.
See, I thought you were very fair, because I mean I've got a Spark as well, and I really like it, like you do, but it does have problems. I did see one guy this week had pimped his Spark by taking out the stock speakers and putting car hi-fi speakers in. Yeah, I thought that's not bad, not a bad idea, but you're probably spending what, 50 quid a speaker, or you should be spending half decent money on a set of speakers, maybe, on a bit £350 amp.
Yeah, you come from Ipswich. You must have chavved a car.
Yes, mate. But what you forget is Celestian are based in Ipswich.
I can imagine he's got like these sort of creambacks in his chavved up car bouncing along.
My mate's car had twin 18s in the boot. Jeez. Just because we could get them cheap. They used to, I don't think they do now, but they used to have 2 or 3 of the music shops in town had a deal with Celestian where you could get the factory seconds where the boxes were slightly dinged, or there was a scratch on the chassis of the speaker, and you get it for no money. It was great. You get like vintage 30s for like 15 quid because the box was dinged.
That's great. That's great.
If only we knew now. If only I knew now what I knew then, what I know now.
There's a song in that.
Paul, yeah. I didn't see the video. So what was your take on it?
So I think I laid down the truth. There's so many people, because every time I do a video, I get like people putting in the comments like the Spark is this, the Spark is that. I'm getting bad customer service. And I've done these videos where I'm sort of, saying the Spark's great and it does this. And then I just thought, hold on a second. I'm advertising the Spark for them. Some of those videos have got, then they're not like your Anderton's videos, but they've like 55,000 views, something like that. Mm-hmm. So a fair, good number.
It's good numbers.
And then
it's more than they've sold.
Huh? They're sold.
Oh, I don't know.
No, they've gone at hotcakes apparently.
Nah, them. So come on. Anyway, right.
Oh, interesting view. But yeah, I like to. Yeah, apparently they're selling like, mate, they can't make them quick enough. They're so out of stock. And yeah, people have been waiting for like 6 months and stuff. And loads of people have had really good experiences with the customer services, and loads of people have had really bad customer services.
But anyway, sorry, but the rule is though, generally, as human beings, if something is great, we keep stum. if something is bad,
yeah, that is true.
We moan about it. Now,
that is true.
If you have you've got to have exceptional customer service to go and write a nice email or tell people how great it was, haven't you? Whereas if someone, looked at you funny in a shop, you're gonna go at them, aren't you? So
yeah, but it's always people just constantly just moaning on my videos, like and then someone accused me of being, what's the word? What's the word? Where like you're basically getting paid by a company to that sort of thing. So I got accused of that, and I'm like, I've never done that. And then I find out that they've used one of my videos for their own promotional. They've not only used the video, but they've ripped it. They've edited it for their own purpose, and then put it out.
I've had brands do that as well.
Shocking. That's really bad. So I just went, do you know what? I've never, you've never contacted me. You've never said, thanks for doing these videos. They've never done any of that. And then all I get is people moaning about, the quality of it and the customer service. And I just went, well, do you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to, I don't want people to think that I'm associated with this company. So I'm just going to say, what I think.
Is email you, say, Paul, we love your videos. We'd love to share them, not rip them. Don't do blooming, what's it called? YouTube hijacking on them, as in rip them and put them up as your own, which is what I think they've done, haven't they?
Yeah.
Just share them.
Chill, that's the word. Thanks, Michael.
Or and then say, can we send you another one or something? Can we send you a bag? Can we send you the accessory kit to say thank you? That's all it would cost them.
Oh no, I don't even want anything for it. I don't want anything for it. It's done well. It's done well on the channel, and I don't want anything for it. I mean, that I would feel bad, because I would feel like that is you're then taking that is a shill, I think. But anyway, yeah, enough of that. So Safi contacted me today. Go on, Jack. You want to say something? Go on.
I'm pretty sure I had a bit of the reason why I asked and how you got on with it was that I can remember, this is a bit of Anderson's goss, but they put out, there's only been 1 or 2 videos that they filmed that they never put out.
Right.
And I think one of them was a positive grid one, because Lee worried, because Lee's really a cool boss, because he doesn't say everything's great, but he's
yeah.
He really, I don't think is ever selling it.
Yeah.
But on the positive grid, he went, I don't think we can put that out. Because
that's interesting.
He just didn't believe. I can remember in those early days, he was like, I don't get this freaking product. I don't get why, he's getting blown up on it. Maybe they're really good at social media or whatever like that. But he was like, the product didn't match up to the expectations. And he pulled the video, I think, back in the day when it came out. And he doesn't get on with techie stuff, like Lee.
Yeah.
He can't be bothered.
Yeah. But there have been problems. There've been problems with like the ground. There's been like really bad ground issues where like people have turned up and literally the amps are going, that sort of thing. I mean, yeah. Anyway, we should probably move on, because it's.
I've had far more expensive gear than a.
Yeah. I love what Michael just said.
What's that?
Michael just said, I found it humorous that they ran an ad at the beginning of the video where you called them out.
Yeah,
you saw that as well, didn't you?
I actually did post a pic to Paul and said, look what video's coming up the head of your
Anyway.
Yes. I like Larry North's line saying stealing, James, is called stealing.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So the other news that Jack and I kind of alluded to last week is that we will be getting deliveries. And I have my delivery here. And the stork came by.
Show us.
And brought me this puppy.
Oh, you got it even plugged in.
It's plugged in and everything. This is the new SSL, the Solid State Logic UF-8.
It feels good, doesn't it? I've had it out of the box, and it feels good.
It's nice and chunky.
What's it made out of?
It's brushed aluminium.
Oh, good.
Anodized aluminium faceplate, and it's all very lovely. I've got one. Within the first minute of getting it out of the box, I had one gripe.
Oh, here we go.
This doesn't bode well. And it's a very small gripe, but how many people have Torx screws screwdrivers?
No one.
I actually have. But...
Well, I've got some, but they're all computer-sized ones, and they're very small.
Yeah.
The legs attach via Torx screws.
Show me the legs. Show me the legs. Do they stick up in there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice idea, isn't it? I like that.
And you can change them. They can sit any angle. They can sit kind of, so you can have it really
flat.
Really flat.
Good. I like
but
that.
They attach via 2 Torx screws. And I was like, oh, really? Whereas I even thought, oh, maybe they're not Torx. Maybe they're just Allen keys. And I did swear a bit. And I was like, oh, for God's sake, really?
Did you do the classic and just try and find like a flathead that's small enough?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
And all I did was run them off. No, I didn't.
Oh, hold on, Jack's had an accident.
I'm trying to see I've got Torx screwdrivers.
Hey, you're the other side of London. Hey, look at that.
Oh, look at that. Anywho, I didn't have any
screwdriver set. I'm living a life on my own.
And that's why he's single, boys and girls. But so once I get over the initial hurdle and plugged it in and got it plumbed in and stuff and downloaded the SSL 360 software, it's very good. Now, my initial concerns were it's Huey. Oh God, the resolution's going to be terrible. The fader resolution's going to be terrible.
Can I just say something? Say something? Well, I actually don't think. I think people moan about that, and I've heard people moan about it. It's plenty. I mean, you know, what was the old the motor controls on the old SSLs?
Yeah,
exactly. It was great. You don't need more than.
But anyway, that aside, it doesn't matter because SSL have done something because they're running it through their software, not just via MIDI.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, the AWS, when all the big consoles are run over MIDI direct, they're not run over this new platform, this SSL 360 platform. So what they do to get better fader resolution, to get 10-bit fader resolution, which is 1024 levels, as opposed to just 128 levels, they use the MSB, the most significant bit, and the LSB, the least significant bit, in the MIDI stream to give themselves. Yeah, and Paul's gone. And Jack's frozen.
I just scat myself because I'm supposed to do a video on this. Do that.
A couple of people are asking Analog for Life, and someone else asked what runs it. Is it
USB? It is
USB. Okay.
Because Huey is a USB protocol. It's not Ethernet. It's not Yukon.
Okay.
James, I'm really excited about the knob that apparently you can control with anything your mouse is over. Is that right?
Yeah. So down here, I should have set another camera up for this. Down here, you've got the main kind of channel banking control navigation knob thing. So it can be, you can navigate, you can do sizing, you can navigate up and down your session, or in focus mode, if you hover over something, you can use it as a pot in a plugin without having to map plugins.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's great.
There are different rules depending on your DAW. There's a different implementation of Huey. So, for example, I've got Studio One and Pro Tools set up on this at the moment. Now, in Pro Tools, it automatically maps plugin parameters. On Studio One, it does not.
Really?
Yeah. And I was quite surprised by that.
But you can make 3 doors at once, right? And you can flip
three doors at the same time, which is really nice.
Can you only control one at a time though? You can just push a button. So for instance, can you control Logic, and then like if you push play on the transport, would that play in Logic, Pro Tools, Studio One?
No, it doesn't work.
You have to push a button, change it over. Okay.
Yeah. But the thing is, I'm normally really kind of anti-controllers. Yes, I like the faders normally, and because faders are good, and I like the pots. But actually, the rest of it is really navigable. It's really good. The screens are nice and big and easy to read. So much better than the old OLED screens that were on the Yukon and the what they called the EU, the Artist Mix and the Artist Control. All those little tiny OLED screens. These are really good. Now, this is a drawback of Huey rather than of anything else. But you can only have 4 characters that describe the channel names, so you have to get a convention where the first, or the main, you can work out what the channel names are. It's not a big deal.
It is if you're going through 100 tracks.
Yeah, it is. But if you're going through 100 tracks, I don't think you're going to have just one of these. If you're working on 100 track sessions, I think this is priced at a point where, I mean, I actually can see a case for having 2 of these for myself. I'd have one on the desk, at the mixing position to control Pro Tools. I'd have one of these at the drums. So I've got, I can control the mix, I can tweak stuff from the kit, which is, you'd be surprised how often I want to do that. I want to just tweak something, just grab, rather than go in with a mouse and scroll around a faff, just go, right, bang, go. All the soft keys on it are really usable, as in what they've already, I think it's not so much the thing, but the way they've implemented the software is really good. They've done a lot of work to make it really easy to use.
The shortcoming, I got it out of the box in front of the chap I work with, Mark, and went, oh, look at this, it's nice. And he went, and he went, is there another one? Is there like another model? And I went, nah, just this. And he was like, yeah, well, they've shot themselves in the foot, because if you do multiple ones, he says, I don't want the same buttons over and over again. I just want.
This is a cool thing, you see.
Right.
Some buttons will multiply across the systems, across more than one. But many of them, as soon as you have more, you can actually have different buttons. It's not duplicates. So you could actually, if you have 2 of these, I think you've got 40-something buttons that are configurable. If you've got 2 of them, you've got 80-something buttons that are configurable.
That makes it better. Yeah.
So, yeah. Is it just Huey, or is it Mackie Control as well?
Mackie Control is Huey.
Have you ever tried?
No, it's different. It is different. I mean, if you buy something like let's talk about a Mackie Control.
Yeah.
If you buy Mackie Control, you put it in Mackie Control mode, or you put it in Huey mode. So it's a different.
Okay. Well, in Pro Tools, this wants to speak Huey.
Yeah.
In Studio One, it speaks Mackie Control.
Great. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's great. I was going to say, because Matt Wright just asked a question. Hi, Matt. He said, will it work in Luna when they update control services? Yes, almost definitely.
They will. SSL will need to write a 360 patch for it.
Yeah.
So far, hang on. Let me have a quick look what they've done. They've so far done Pro Tools, Logic Pro, Cubase, Ableton, and Studio One.
Cool.
I can see a time coming when there'll be Reaper, Luna, other what's it called, Bitwig. There'll be others will come fairly quickly. I don't think it's a horrendously difficult task to do.
Have you ever used the QCon controller?
Yeah. Oh, those cheap ones.
Yeah, because I watched a few. I tried to kind of, before I do the video, I've got a little bit of time, a week before. So I was like, maybe I could ask, I've got the guy on, what was his name? James, right, from SSL.
Yeah, Jim Motley. Yeah.
He's going to stream with me. And one of the things that people seem to be saying was like, oh, just get the QCon. And I had a look at it, and the QCon looks cool, but have you had any personal experience with it?
Yeah, when they first brought it out, I think I was at NAMM at the time, and they first brought it out, and I remember they got it, and I thought, God, that looks great. And the price was like, it was cheap, and then it's not touch sensitive. So basically, it might be now, but when they first brought it out, the faders used to move, and if you touch the fader, if you touch like any other motorized control surface, it then reacts to your fingers. So you touch it, the motor switches off and then reacts to your fingers. This one didn't. So the motor's just going to go. It's going to break. So I don't know. Hopefully they've sorted that out.
They are incredibly difficult to set up.
Are they?
They are a real pain in the Harris. This was not.
Cool.
This was very, very easy. And actually, one of the things that it's more difficult than you think, but when you work it out, you go, oh yeah, is setting up multiple DAWs is actually quite a faff. until you realize what there's actually it's a brilliant system in it. If you in their the SSL 360 software, if you click on the port button, it tells you what SSL V MIDI ports to use in your DAW for each patch. It's very clever. It's very, very clever. They've really done a good job of thinking about it and working it out.
So we've missed a few. Loads of people are giving comments and stuff. Thanks, guys, for the support on the Spark video. Thanks, guys. Anyway,
we love you, Paul.
Knock says, anyone tried the Quad Cortex? No, ours still haven't arrived. I had a message from Guitar at the weekend saying that it's 20 to 30 days away still.
I haven't had one.
On Friday, I'll try wrestle it away from Danish Pete.
Please, mate. That'd be amazing. Yeah, Danish Pete, he's got too much gear.
He does have too much gear.
Let me have a look. I'm just trying to see. Do you think the Cortex would be available to capture well enough to replace a valve amp? Yes, I do, Matt.
They do say it's one of its killer features, don't they?
Yeah, it's. But I mean, I've heard I've gone through the videos where people have captured with that over the Kemper, and you don't get that Kemper low mid hump, which is shocking. So yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. I'm really hoping it's going to feel. I know Jack's tried it, and Jack's not so keen. But
I'm a keen player, so.
Now you're a wicked guitar player.
Nam fascinating fact for you. Kemper are the only booth I've ever known to be shut down for 3 days of the show.
Oh, by the noise?
By the noise police.
Well, you'd think on something that's literally silent.
Gentlemen, we have been joined.
Who's in the house?
It gives me great pleasure to introduce.
How are you, mate? You well?
Hi, guys. First of all, I would like to apologize for my English because I'm not native tongue. I'm Italian.
Not at all.
So be patient, please. But I'd like to join you because I like very much the show, the videos from Paul, from James, production expert, and so on. And so I would like to say hello.
Oh, hi. How do we pronounce your name? Do we pronounce your name Michael or Michelle? How do we pronounce it?
For Paul, I am Mikko Michel, but
Michel, right?
But I am Michele. I'm
Michele.
really Michele.
Ciao, Michele.
Michele. Yeah, that sounds better.
So I apologise for all of our Italian in advance.
Dio cane.
Whereabouts in Italy are you?
Sorry?
Whereabouts in Italy are you?
Northern Italy. I'm
lovely.
100 kilometers from Milan.
Oh, lovely.
Nice.
Do you know Lake of Garda?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, wow.
Okay. I'm pretty close.
Wow.
Synthesizer, Michele.
What?
In the back.
Sorry?
Is that a Moog at the back or a Behringer Moog?
I love people showing me that. I still get excited over people's gear.
Yeah. Is it a rig rundown time?
Yeah.
So hold on a sec. So what have you got? You've got like a plexi at the bottom.
Fender Bassman there.
It looks like you've got a box AC30 out of the chassis.
Oh, hang on. Here we go.
Okay, I'm not able to.
You wouldn't expect this.
Oh, sorry. I'm not able to change the camera.
Oh, okay.
I'll.
All right.
Just like this. Okay.
Oh,
okay.
What's that? You got an AC30 out of a chassis?
Yes, this is an AC30 that I separated the head from the cabinet. The cabinet is right here in the control room in the library.
Oh, this is I've got gear envy. Look at this.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I know this is for Paul, and this is this is a quad reverb. Do you know quad reverb?
Ooh.
It's the same. It's the same as a twin reverb, but it had 4 speakers, and it was
Right.
very, very big, very heavy, and so I put it on a head. So in studio it's more comfortable, and so I can play guitar on the control room, and the cabinet is in the live room as the AC30.
Nice.
See, that's great. I love people that have got like combos, and then they're paid to get it sort of rehoused in a head. I think that's such a great idea. I mean, that AC30, stick that in a head. That would be. I mean, I'd buy that. Why don't they do that? I don't want to lug around a big 2x12 cabinet.
There was an AC30 head. I think it was called. I think it was called an AC50. I think.
No, they do actually make that. They make one of the hand wired heads now, but
no. Back in the day, there was an AC50.
Was there? Okay. Oh, I love that.
How are you, Michele? What's it like out there, and how have you been?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm lucky. I'm lucky here. I'm with my family, and it was very difficult in March 2020. I'm in Brescia. Brescia is the name of the town, and it was probably the most affected town by COVID in that time. I don't know if you remember. It was a hell here. And,
yeah.
But I was lucky. All my friends, all my family is okay, and I joined stay in the studio all day, as I always do, with or without COVID. Sorry. It was pretty the same for me. And it was the same also with the job. I keep working, and it's good. It's good.
Wicked. Good to hear, mate.
And what do you do for a job? Is this? Are you a full-time musician? What's your?
Yes. This is my this studio is my job.
Great.
Oh.
It's got some nice gear, isn't he? Look at this.
I played with one Italian guy called Mario Biondi.
Yes, I know. He's a great singer.
That's my one Italian gig I did.
You played with everyone.
Mario Biondi.
It's a very tall guy and big guy. He has a great voice.
Huge dick, massive dick.
Oh well, I guess monetizing this video.
Was that part of the? Was that part of
your audition? That's it.
Is it? Whatever you're into. So what's he got over there? He's got some nice.
Michele, what videos do you want to see from Paul and James? What could help?
But I'm a Studio One guy, so Studio One is always a good thing for me, and things about Studio One and related, and sorry.
Yeah.
When did you transition to Studio One, and what were you using before?
In the beginning, it was a bit hard. I was a Pro Tool guy from the 90s. My first Pro Tool gear was the DG001. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pro Tools. I think Pro Tools 6, maybe 5, 6.
Yeah.
6. And until last year, at the end of 2019, I switched to Studio One.
Can I guess why? Was it because of the ridiculous yearly amount you have to pay Avid?
That's right.
Joke.
It was
joke.
money. It was money. It was
absolute joke.
It was crazy. Yes.
Avid have lost so many customers because of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's crazy.
I can't believe they're sticking with it.
It's a cash cow for them.
I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't easy for me. Pro Tools was in my head. It was very fast for me to work with Pro Tools because I knew all the shortcuts and so on. But when it arrived the point that I had to buy HDX because TDM was getting older and older and older, and I couldn't afford a rig that could give me the same things as TDM, but in HDX world. So I am pretty used to have 30 ins and 30 out and so on, and it was like over 10,000, something like that.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Crazy.
So I tried Studio One. At the beginning, I was lost. I was lost, but in a couple of months, it was getting better and better, and now it's my home.
Great.
It's good to hear. Good for you. I would be pretty scared to move from DAW. I use Logic.
I was because
I am really
scared. Because working, it's working. So if you're not fast, it's not a good thing. Also, when you have clients in your studio, it's
huge.
It could be embarrassing, and it's not the case. So I bought a PC, Windows. I was a Mac guy. I started with G3 and this kind of Apple computers. So I changed everything.
Wow.
But now I'm happy. There's one thing I missed from TDM, that is the latency. The way latency is managed, was managed in my TDM system. It was a thing that you never have to think about.
There's still one thing.
Now I have to think about it sometimes.
Yeah, I hear you. There's still one thing I miss from TDM days.
What's that?
It's the only TDM synth, which was the
Access.
The Access virus.
Every time.
I remember. It was the red one and the blue one.
Yeah, they were brilliant. Yes. Absolutely amazing.
I remember.
And the guy who did that, isn't that
Kemper?
It is Kemper. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, he said that. You said that last week, and he never updated that. That's why he hasn't updated the Kemper.
Yeah. And when you talk about latency, I've never used Pro Tools, right? What do you mean with that? Because in Logic, my experience is just I've got the low latency button and I manage the buffer size. Are you talking about latency with external bits of gear or internally?
Yeah, everything.
You start recording, you start play, and it's always the same.
Yeah. So Jack,
it's like having a tape machine. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Yes. So Jack, if you've got TDM or AAX,
HDX,
DSP plugins, you can literally just stack them up. Like it's a bit like it's basically what Universal Audio have done with Luna. You can use a DSP live, and I mean, and basically
all these plugin manufacturers made versions that would work on that system, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I can see that.
Not as many as they said they would.
Yeah. I was gutted because I had an HDX system.
There was a time when RTIS there wasn't a RTIS. All the plugins was TDM, so it was so fast, and I miss a little bit that. But in Studio One, you can do such many things that Pro Tools can't.
I've watched Paul do magic in Studio One and go, why can't I do that?
It's an amazing, yeah. I mean,
ARA stuff's crazy.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean,
You-
yeah.
You can change pitch, change tempo in a blink of an eye.
It's true, actually. I loaded up a song. What was I doing? I loaded up a song the other day, and I had to transfer it from, I think, Logic into Studio One. And for some reason, I did something, and literally, I'd set the tempo going from 150 BPM down to 80 BPM, over like a verse. I don't know how I did it.
Yeah.
And literally, so I was trying to work out what's the tempo of this, and literally, it sounds that good. Like you can have, you know, like you can record a song at say 80 BPM, speed it up to 130 BPM, or slow it down. You know, slow it down massive amounts, and it still sounds like you recorded it like
Time
that.
and pitch is bang on.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's like you know, like Ableton is.
Because we had to buy Serato. In the studio we bought that algorithm because it just sounds way better than the Logic one.
So yeah, so the people who make, I'm trying to think who did the. You can buy the Studio One algorithm was imported from, I can't remember the company. Huh?
Z-Plane, wasn't it?
Z-Plane. So
Yeah.
Z-Plane is another high quality algorithm like that, which costs a fortune, and it's in Studio One. It's brilliant.
Quick dorky question, Paul, and sorry, Michele, but with Vocaline, because you're the Vocaline dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I went to put Ultra on my system the other day, and it kind of said, "Oh, you forfeit Vocaline Pro." But then on Logic, do you know whether or not it kind of looked like the ARA wasn't working yet on Logic? So I don't know whether or not I want to go to Vocaline Ultra and miss out on my. I've just found ARAs working on Logic.
No, it is. You've got to. I had this when I was making the videos for it. You've got to load up the project, close the project, open it again, and an ARA appears.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's a bug. Yeah. It's something to do with Apple and the way they've done Logic.
On the website, it seemed like, why would I want to upgrade if I can't do that? But that's good. Sorry.
No. Yeah, do it, mate. Honestly, just upgrade because it does all of that and more. So it's worth. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about upgrading.
Cool.
Yeah.
So James, you are in HDX now.
I am still running HDX, yes. And at the moment, I don't see a time when I'm going to change that because, as you say, latency issues don't exist. I don't have to think about buffer sizes and all that sort of stuff. I can have the buffer set down at 1024 samples and still hit record and still have zero latency through the console. You know,
and you're still paying the subscription.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, no, you can tell the truth on this. You can tell the truth. No. So what happens if you do videos for certain companies?
Okay.
Avid give licenses,
development licenses.
Yeah, development licenses. So we end up getting
the famous not for resale license.
Yes,
exactly.
But this year was the first year I sweated and I thought, hang on a second, I'm not going to get a freebie this year, am I? So I was thinking, oh God, that's £1,000 a year almost.
Is it that much?
Mate,
it's a
year.
That's over. I mean, yeah, that's grim, isn't it? If you think for a lifetime,
have to fork out $390 or whatever it was for an HD license to use non-Avid hardware with HDX.
Yeah,
this bullshit.
Okay, I had an HDX system. I had an HDX system, and I went over to Studio One, and I didn't notice anything that I couldn't do in Pro Tools that I could do in Pro Tools that I couldn't do in Studio One. There's nothing.
There is another thing I miss, and that's the how you say, Matita, the pen to correct the waveform.
Yeah. So if you've got like a glitch in the waveform, you can draw it out.
Yes.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
And now I find I use RX isotope for that.
Yeah. But RX is magic for so many things. It's proper audio voodoo.
But the pen, it was another thing. It was very useful. I hope Studio One will bring that in the
I'm sure they will. They're great guys.
When would you use that? When would you use that?
So if for some reason, I mean, I've never had the problem since I've used Studio One. But I guess if you've got the way that Logic used to export files, it didn't used to crossfade properly. So if someone had like a comps file and then they'd export it and then they'd send it to like the mix engineer would get like little, so you could go in with a really fine resolution and just draw the waveform out.
Whoa,
it's quite an old, it's you know, that it done that for years.
I remember seeing that. I think I went to a Pro Tools 3.5 demo and it was one of the big features, and everyone went, "Well, I mean, I can draw the waveform." And you know what? I have used that feature a lot, especially if you get.
You can't do that in Logic.
Then you can in Logic now.
No, I haven't seen it. Oh man, I'm slumming it back here with Logic.
Bad times for Logic users.
Oh,
no, it's not true. You have M1 Apple computers. No.
Yeah, that looks good. The future looks good with that.
It does look good.
I'll settle for my PC, thanks. It's still more powerful than a Mac Pro for 1/10 the price.
Oh, I just can't bring myself.
I can't believe the amount of people though that we work with that are in Logic now. The change in Los Angeles seems to be like loads of guys are straight up Logic in it. I think it's maybe because the young artists are all over Logic, even more so than Ableton, because I think Ableton is a bit much for like a singer, maybe like a pop singer. But Logic is like, oh yeah, I've got to have my new laptop I've just brought at the airport, and it's like.
Yeah. It's easy, isn't it? You know, you've got the computer and you know that's the software to buy because it's available in the App Store and it's easy to do, and it's great. It's got everything. It's got.
I'd love to do a shootout video with you, Paul, where we do like Logic versus, and we set up the computers and we try to do the same things.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be really good. That'd be really good.
I'll film it. I'll referee.
Yeah, that'd be really good. Yeah, we should do that.
I will look like a human sieve at the end. You'll have shot so many holes in me with you.
I don't know. You'll probably be quicker than me at the moment, I think. I've been making too many YouTube videos.
The stemming is shit.
In Logic.
What's exporting like in Studio One? Is it better
than Logic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just hit like, because I still have to run everything in not in real time, but I go through on the wet stems. I had to go through every track and bounce each track individually.
Oh no!
Wait, no. Do you know what? There's a way of doing that. I back in the summer had did an interview type session with Mike Exeter, and one of his. Take a look at the setup video where he's explaining his session.
Yeah, but he's Pro Tools, James. He's Pro Tools.
Yeah, but you could do most of that stuff in Logic, can't you? You can do most of it. Is the routing is possible within Logic. I know it is Pro Tools, but the ideas will transfer from one DAW to the other. Surely,
I had to do loads of crazy muting. Say, for example, if he runs it it just doesn't intelligently. On the wet stems, on the dry ones, I can do an export all without the effect. But when he's using, I work as an assistant, Michele, for my friend who's a successful mixer and producer, and there's just no way I can reliably do it like one button, do it all. I have to go through it all to make sure that it's just the way Logic exports things. I don't. It just never sounds right. I don't know. Sorry. That's how fun my life is.
Yeah, we have got some.
Shit.
He's got talks, drivers, and alcohol. What else? What else does he need?
Absolutely. Anyway, Michaela, it's been
a pleasure.
Yeah. Please come on. If you want to come on again, please let us know and just come on.
Okay. There is a bunch of things that I have to show you.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, do you want to show us anything? Do you want to show us anything now?
No, next time. It's okay. I want to show James the piano. We were talking about a few weeks ago. This is the piano.
Oh, that's cool, isn't it?
Nice.
Yeah. It's smaller. It's a Czech Republic piano.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fairly mellow. It's a warm sound, and it's beautiful. So
you got Leslie there, all the keyboards, woo!
Got everything,
and some drums, and I can even talk drums from it.
Oh, we should go and do the studio. We should go and do the next Studio Rat song over in Italy.
Definitely, I'm up for that.
Would be great. Would be great. Okay,
that sounds like a good plan.
All right, Michelle, yeah, you take care.
An absolute pleasure, sir. Thank you for coming on. We'll see you again soon.
Take care. Right. So there's a couple of things that
this is so heartwarming.
It's nice, isn't it? It's nice. Yes, it's lovely to have people on. Right, where did we get to? Okay. So yeah, there's a couple of questions, and then okay. Personal feeling of the faders on the UF-8 versus the S6 F4.
The UF-8 faders are not as good as the S6 or the S4. They're just not. But an S4 is a £5,000-6,000 spend, if not more than that. Probably 10. This is under £1,000 for 8 faders, so I'm not panicked by that. To be honest, I used it. I run some automation on it today, and it's unless you're going, it's as good as silent with a mix playing back. So yeah, fine,
great. Steve says, "Good evening, guys. You say Paul said he was getting a Line 6 power cab. How are you finding it?" I got it. I plugged it in just to make sure it worked, and I haven't touched it since, Steve. But I have got it. It's out the back. Really, really cheap, actually. Some was just, it was on eBay for like 275 quid, and I thought, well, I can use that for live, so I'll grab that. But I will do. Yeah, I think once I've got a bit more time, I'll drag it out. I want to get 2 actually, because I think ideally what I'd like to do is to either go out with the Boss GT1000 and 2 power cabs, or go out with the Quad Cortex and 2 power cabs for all the stereo stuff. Because I can't do mono. I'm just like, every time I play through like a mono amp, I'm just like, oh, it's all right. Stereo, I go like, yeah.
Head Rush cabinets are really cheap as well, and they sounded. I thought they sounded really good.
Yeah, plastic composite, aren't they? Though that's the only thing. They don't sound. That's always those little composite cabinets. They don't. They sound like a PA as opposed to a.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Where are we? Are we going to shoot? Are we going to shoot at the Quad Cortex with the GT1000? Oh
hell yeah!
Oh yes. If you guys want to see my analog for life, was it Analogs for Life? Did we see? Were they the pictures that we looked at last week?
Yes.
Oh, he's got some serious.
Get your rig out, sir. Get your big rig out.
Get your rig out.
Analog for Life. Get your camera out, and yes, come and join us.
But just before we do this, there's a couple of things I just want to go through, because Safey contacted me today. Let me just make sure that there's no Overdrive Guitar Channel. We'll come to you in a minute, I promise. But Safey said, I guess on reaction to the Spark video, have you guys heard about the Bad Cat, the Paw? You know, Bad Cat amplifiers.
I had an order on one.
You ordered one?
I ordered one, and I cancelled it when I found out some things from Andertons.
Ooh, okay. So that's really good. James, shall I share my screen?
Please do.
Let me hold on.
Because the Poor, when I was at NAMM last year, I was like, "This is it. This is for me."
Is it P-O-O-R or P-A-W?
P-A-W.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me. Well, I tell you what I'll do. Let me share the screen.
Yeah.
Let me share the screen, and then we can look through this.
Okay, you ready? Here
Then
we
when
go.
you see it.
Sharing now. Yes.
Oh yes.
Right. Okay, that looks a lot like.
Well, it looks like a really sexy.
I can tell you everything about the Poor. Yeah.
Oh, so that's brilliant because there's some things that I want to know. So it's a Valve preamp.
Yeah,
Wow.
EF-86.
EF-86, and then Class D power amp, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Look, see, that's great. That looks.
Yeah.
Huh?
There's two like 6-inch speakers in that.
Okay.
Right.
So it's not. There we go.
It's got effects loop, and it's got it's got XLR direct out.
Stereo effects loop. Yeah.
And it's got a ground lift. I mean, that looks like it's the daddy to me.
It's unbelievable. When I heard one and I played through one at the Bad Cat stand last year.
Yeah.
And the guys and the lead buyer at Andertons was like, this is the product of the show.
Yeah.
And was super psyched about it because I thought, oh, this is my perfect stereo amp.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, I can have the Lazy J in the live room, and this can be like a small way to do wet, dry, wet, and like a really posh Yamaha THR.
Yeah.
And it's great. And then I had the order down. They're a few months late, but then a few started turning up, and it's all right. It's not like he's a really nice guy, the guy at Bad Cat, by all accounts. They're trying. It's just someone hadn't accounted for the UK voltages, and they they literally hadn't thought about it. It sounds like they hadn't thought about what happens when they send this stuff over here. Something to do with the electronics. Like the few they sent over, everyone blew up.
50 hertz versus 50 hertz, 120 volt versus 240 volt.
School boy era. So I think they're panic. That's why we haven't seen them.
But hold on a second. Bad Cat are a company that have been around for ages, and they have amps in this country.
But it's a new guy at the helm. He's a really lovely guy, very charismatic and like super caring. And that product is so cool and forward thinking. Until you see it, you go, what? And then when you hear it, you're like, that's what I want. And it was a good price. It was like under 700 quid.
Now it's 800, I think. Let me have a look. It's $799.
Okay,
so
yeah.
690, 700 quid.
Yeah, but what a cool, and I thought also with the small speakers, an interesting, like it's the size of a mini head. So if I like really weird sounding speakers, so I thought that's cool. And then it can power any of my cabs I want. And it's had bucket loads. They had it set up with, so they're just having a bit of a mare with the UK power with our 240, I think.
So what? But is it just an amp? Is there effects built in? What's the deal?
Yeah, so you have. It's just the same channel from their 40R.
Oh, great.
But you've got and I love EF-86 because I love matchless amps. I had a Jackson Britain amp.
Yeah, nice.
That boxy thing. So it really did seem to have that on the front end. And it's so smart having the power. That doesn't really, I never crank it up that loud to get the power amp shit going. So it was beautiful. And it had a digital reverb. But then what's cool is it had stereo effects, true stereo effects loop, not stereo in, but I just thought I could do the wet, dry, wet thing, but with my Lazy J and that on top. Oh. But I'm going to buy a JC40 instead. I'm going to buy a Roland Jazz Chorus.
Oh, yeah.
I have been toying with a Jazz Chorus as well.
Because I'm like, that's what I want. That's the sound I want.
I've so been toying with they do a 40, an 80, and a 120, don't they?
The 40. I had a bit of a nerd out on them in the shop last week when I was filming, and the 40 just because this 40's even got stereo inputs, and I was like, this is less money than the Poor, and I know it doesn't have the valve thing, but then I've got a valve. If I'm just going to use it for those stereo effects, I might as well get a JC40.
Interesting.
Lots of guitaring. I've been nerding out on the guitars this week.
Have you?
Yeah, because I'm getting bracing for my automaton.
And have you not got it yet?
Nah, everything's delayed, man.
Yeah.
And now that I had Nord tell me that their normal shipping container was like 3-4 grand, and the one coming over they're charging them 30.
Ouch.
So you're going to see a huge raft of prices going up on stuff. They've already done it on the keyboard things. And
is this because of Brexit or because of COVID?
Brexit.
Yeah,
but primarily Brexit.
Wow.
Yeah, because they've got us over a barrel over the border. So they're like, "Oh, you wanted that last bit across the channel? Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah.
Bastards. Right. Overdrive Guitar Channel says, "Hey guys, I've been playing guitar for a long time. I am now just starting to write original music. Making the leap from riffs and ideas to polished song has been hard. Any advice?"
But get yourself a drum machine.
Interesting.
The way to make a song, a bunch of riffs become a song, is put a groove to it, and then all of a sudden it doesn't take much for that groove to then you've got a riff. You get yourself a little keyboard, put some bass line down, and all of a sudden you've got guitar, bass, drums. That's a song.
Would you say drum machine over like a drum VI, like
Oh no, I mean a thing that will play back drum patterns,
right.
Be it a drum machine or a VI or whatever. Yeah, these days you wouldn't buy a Alesis D4, would you? Because you just, or a Dr. Rhythm or anything like that, unless you were.
My dad used to gig with that.
Did he?
Trio, no drummer, unless SR16.
Yeah.
Did I see your dad had released a song? I haven't listened to it.
Yeah, right? Dying for a Pint.
What's it called? Gagging for a Pint.
Dying for a Pint. It's a satirical look at the fact that everyone is wanting their freedom just to go down to the pub and get pissed. That's very left wing. Yeah.
Nice.
I would say Overdrive. I'm with you, James. On even more budget, for me, just putting clicks in.
Yeah.
I don't know what genre you're in. I know it probably doesn't work if you're chugging, but like for a lot of the songs that I write, I find that is enough. Just a backbeat or something, or just
shaker.
The 2s and 4s gets me there.
I did particularly like the room. Your living room has quite a nice ambience for clicks as well. I was like, when you click, I went, that's a man who has clicked on record. That whole kind of the little flam between left and right was nice as well.
Yeah, I've actually got this IR available on my website if you want to buy
it. Overdrive Guitar Channel's come back. I use MT Power Drummer now. Learning curve of recording combined with learning curve of songwriting has been a real exercise in patience. Mostly blues rock is what I write. I'm trying to think.
One blues rock tip is, I think that in that genre and friends that do it, write about stuff that's happened to you, and don't write about freight yards, and don't write about the sun coming up tomorrow, because
it's been done,
man. Whereas you, like, that's what people don't get with the blues guys that succeeded.
All that shit happened to them.
Yeah, and I suppose we're in a weird age where there's guys who are succeeding that actually have essentially no creativity, but they're just good exponents of what they do. So, but you'll feel a lot better if you just write about yourself and you get something off your chest. That's what
I personally think every song should start with "I woke up this morning."
Man, when I watch those things and they're going down the freight yard, I'm like, it's Somerset, mate.
No, so I've got a tip. I've got a
freight yard, isn't it?
Huh?
Surely from Somerset, going down the freight yard, isn't it?
Freight yard. I've got a tip. Set yourself a time frame.
Yes.
It's so easy just to get like lost in sort of trying something out and then going, that's not quite right. That's not quite right. It's not quite right. It's not quite right. Just go, right. I'm going to write a song. I'm going to write a chord progression in an hour, and you go, right, that's the only amount of time that I've got, and you lay it down and do it, and it doesn't matter if it's perfect, just properly just put it down.
Who am I thinking of? Most famous, I'm thinking of Diane Warren. There's a fantastic story.
Dirtiest studio in the world.
Yeah, but there's a fantastic story that that says Diane Warren has written, you know, books of hit singles and hit songs.
Yeah.
But she's also written some dogs. Yeah. It's just that those dogs don't make the light of day. To write songs, the first thing you have to do is write a song and finish a song. And then you move on to the next one and the next one and the next one. And by the time you've written 50, you might have written 1 or 2 good ones. Your first song is not Let It Be. Your first song is not Still Got the Blues or something like that. Your 100th, 200th, 300th song. It's the classic story of the difficult second album. The difficult second album is difficult because you've spent the last 10 years writing your first album and you've got 10 months to write your second. That's why they call it the difficult second album.
And you've been on the road getting pissed.
There is that. Sorry, that could have just been the darkness.
Just to get some concrete stuff, Overdrive, Shannon, thanks, mate. We in the pop thing, and it's all right to go out and copy. You know, don't be afraid. Like I'm saying, write about yourself, and I don't want you to make out that I'm like this guy that's forever coming up with incredibly original ideas. A lot, you know, if you like Vultures by John Mayer, like you can set out for that, and I guarantee you won't end up with Vultures by John Mayer.
That's so true.
You can we rip the BPM. I'm sure you do the same, Paul. Like we go, okay, what land are we in here? BPM. Let's play an example, and we reference a lot.
It's so true. Yeah, the amount of times that I've nicked a chord progression, and then, like for instance, if you then, so if a song inspires you, rip off that chord progression. I'm not going to say which ones I've done, but so you rip off a chord progression, and if you're co-writing with someone else, which is my next tip. That person will come in. That person hasn't got that song stuck in their head. That person will come in. They'll come up with a completely different melody and lyrical ideas over that chord progression. It's just, and also I think that is my biggest tip as well, is to co-write. Find someone to write with, because you will
go in different directions. Yeah. My next tip in the kind of blues rock world, because that's where my guitar sensitivities sit. You know, I'm a big Clapton, Gary Moore, Eric Johnson, all those kind of the modern blues rock guys. Step away from 12 bars occasionally. Don't just get stuck into that 12-bar rut, because when you do step out of it, you end up going in different directions. You go, oh, that's nice. That turnaround's nice. Learn some more cool jazz style blues turnarounds. It's not all 1-4-5. There is more to blues than just playing a 12-bar. I appreciate I'm probably preaching to the converted at this point if you've been playing for a while, but you know, it's all too easy to go and then there's a band doing that. They're called Status Quo, and they've been quite successful at it.
You're right that the action is in the turnaround. When you get to that 5 chord, that's where it all happens.
And this is for someone who most people think, oh, he's not a bad guitar player. I can play, you know, pretty much anything. I can do a close approximation to most things Gary Moore has done, because I love the way that man played. I can't play as fast and I'm not as creative as him, but most of the stuff that he's come up with for the blues albums, I've gone, yeah, I can get close to that. And then I can play well enough to be creative on tracks. But don't ask me to sit down there and master so-and-so solo, because that's not what I'm all about. But it was quite funny. I turned up at the London Drum Show one year, and because I've been working for Avid doing the 11 rack stuff and all the sort of like demos and things for Avid, one guy says to me, "What the hell are you doing here? You're a guitarist, aren't you?" I said, No. These are my people.
Do you know how many tom-toms I have?
I have many tom-toms.
Oh, yes, he does.
How many tom-toms do you reckon you got, James?
In total, or on that kit?
In total. Tom-tom Anonymous.
10.
Like, Jack, how many tom-toms are needed on a drum kit?
2 or 3 max.
I would actually say I've done gigs with a floor tom.
You got one there. You got one there, haven't you?
No, I've done gigs where we had limited time to set up, we had limited space, and I've turned up with a kick drum, a crash ride, a floor tom, a snare, and a hi-hat, and I had a great night because I had to be creative. I had to trying to do the big runs in Bohemian Rhapsody between a snare drum and a floor tom is not easy.
There's that's Jack. What else are you? While I load up the next page that I need to look at. What's the other things that you're jonesing after with your guitar stuff?
Oh, so I want a JC 40, and I'm going to sell, because I've just been selling a lot of. I sold all my drive pedals basically to fund and to clear my mind for the automaton, because I just had this kind of revelation that all my drive pedals were essentially preset EQs, and
yeah, that's pretty much
I had a Palisades which did all my mid boosted kind of tube screamer, and then I had my King of Tone which was like that but with a bit more bass, and then the automaton was like, yeah, but I'll be able to do all of that. And it was so funny that I was a slave to having all these, and so I have had a go on it, and it did feel like I could get rid of those. And then so the JC 140, it gets rid of. I've got some chorus pedals. I've got the old Arian one, the Mike Landau one, the Analog Man by chorus. I've got like some pretty pimped out choruses, and the pedals are worth more than the freaking JC 40.
At this point, I'm going to say, me and my toms is nothing compared to you boys and your pedals.
I know, but I'm recovering. I'm getting rid of them.
Recovering.
I'm recovering. But I will say, Sound Dust, if you want to check him out, anyone who's out there, and you want to, he's got a new thing called Loop Pool that came out. He's down in Brighton, and it's only 30 quid at the moment. But I'm into Tom Waits and these like
Tom Waits, Tom Waits,
and or even just stuff that isn't on Splice for 30 quid. This guy, Sound Dust, check him out.
I'll do that.
Nice.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
So something else that there's a couple of things that I keep forgetting to bring up, and one of them is: has anyone looked on Reverb at the moment about just like people putting ridiculous prices on things?
Mm-hmm.
Like
I don't shop on Reverb. I can't afford it.
That was one. I wanted to rebuy this thing called the Digitech Talker that I had.
Yeah.
And they're like, someone's just put up a punt at like 900 quid. And I'm like, don't do that, mate. And SM Fuzz, my friend Scott McKeon, has a pedal called the SM Fuzz, and they only made about like 50 of them, but no one really, he's a great guitar player, but some lad in Japan put one up again, 999, and now suddenly his pedal's worth $1,000.
That is just bonkers, isn't it?
And I've got one, and I can't. It's not worth $1,000.
Did you? So yeah, that's absolutely.
It's what we were saying with the Silver Sky and all that nonsense. It's getting a bit mad.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think that's what triggered it. But like clones now are getting up to $5,000. A clon, $5,000.
And it makes me, in a weird way, it's a bit like that Bitcoin thing. People going, yeah, I had a Bitcoin back in 2010, and they're throwing themselves off a bridge. Like my mate had a clone I could have bought for 400 quid, but it was, but that was 2008.
Yeah,
and I was a child.
Yeah, crazy, but that's like anything, isn't it? I had a Fender Champ, that one of the really old sort of 70s ones that I think I sold to someone for 25 quid, and they're worth $1,000 now. I can't say because I sold it when I was about 18.
What we're getting at is about whether or not it warrants. It's funny what makes something warrant the price, right? Because a clone, it just doesn't warrant, because there are replications, and I suppose with the Champ, the same thing. You can buy replications.
I mean, how many people do you think buy a clon for, even if it was $2,000 or $3,000? Mm-hmm. How many people actually buy a clon?
I don't know what a clon is.
A clon center is I can't remember the guy who made them.
Bill something.
It's the same. It's the same with Dumble amps. It's that sort of.
He even makes a new one, which he says on the bottom on the print says this is exactly the same, and you should.
Yeah, I didn't invent the hype or something like that. It says on it.
But I did it with the King of Tone because I just couldn't wait for one, so I spent 500 quid on that, and knew it's 220. So I was one of those guys because I just couldn't be bothered to wait.
Yeah,
if you've got the money and you can't be bothered to wait, there are going to be people like that.
I've never tried. Is it that good? The King.
Is a clone a pedal?
Yes, a pedal. Yeah.
It's a boost pedal, really. King of Tone. What's mad is what I found out with the Automaton, and there's a great That Pedal Show video on it where they cop other classic pedals with it. Is they don't say it, but my revelation was it's the EQ. Like you buy the King of Tone because everyone wanted a kind of blues breaker circuit that didn't flub out the bottom end or whatever. It's like always a top or a bottom thing. I'm like, well, it's an EQ thing.
Yeah. But do you reckon That Pedal Show are responsible for the King of Tone just going crazy? Yes,
I think they wield it very well and very carefully. They could be very irresponsible because they're kind of controlling that market now.
Yeah, crazy. Right. The other thing I wanted to talk about was
not James. He's free from madness.
Huh? Absolutely.
He's watching Tom Tom's Triple X on a Friday night.
My wife can hear you.
Well, did anyone like? I know we're a couple of weeks out, but like Nam, Nam's been cut a few weeks ago. Did anyone see the thing that I can't get my head around was Gibson bought Kramer some time ago. Did anyone see like their signature models that they released?
No,
I did see a couple.
So,
Bill Lawrence, thank you, Overdrive.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah. So they released two. Well, there's actually three, but we'll talk about two. So there's two signature models. There's the Dave Snake Sabo. If you know, so he was the guitarist in, I forgot the name of the band.
Was it an 80s hair thing?
Yeah, 80s hair band.
Poison?
Huh? No, it wasn't Poison. Skid Row.
Skid Row.
Oh, yeah.
He was guitarist in Skid Row. Right. That's one thing. And then they released a Tracy Guns. Tracy Guns.
From LA Guns.
From LA Guns.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, hold on a second. Why are you doing this? And then you go like, so the two guys that have just bought Gibson, they've just gone like, who's your favorite band in the 80s? And they've gone, oh yeah, I love Skid Row and I love LA Guns. Oh, we should sign these two guys up, and then release a couple of guitars.
Bring their fan base.
No buy them, huh?
Yeah. What? Bring their aging fan base of 80.
Yeah. I mean, who's gonna? So I've got to show this. I've got to show one of them.
No disrespect to those guys, by the way, but I know what you mean. It kind of explains a lot of their decision making at Gibson.
Yeah, it's crazy. See if I can find. Right, here we go.
Like, we don't like these Les Paul things.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me share this. Let me share the studio. Share screen. That one. Right. Here we go. Where are we?
Right. Here we go. Oh,
isn't that awful?
Oh, that's awesome. Really
James loves that. It cracks me up.
It's funny because I saw, I think it was on his last tour, I saw Gary Moore with the Scars band, which was Cass Lewis, bass player from Skunk Anansie, and Darren Mooney, drummer from Primal Scream.
Yeah, awesome.
And they were amazing. But he was playing an Explorer a lot, and I thought an Explorer is a cool instrument, a cool Gibson, but that's not cool. That is just horrendous.
And that as well. What? I mean, what? It's like I mean, I lived through the days where in the in the early 90s, I would have loved that. I would have loved it, but I don't know. It seems strange to me that all of these.
That's horrendous.
Yeah, all of these crazy instruments coming back, like all these sort of strange 80s guitars are just.
It's a good price though. Like at that, you'd think if you just want to have like a wild card in your guitar rack.
Yeah, I guess. I think it's like something you hang on the wall and your mates think it's cool. Maybe.
What was really funny was talking about having the wild card guitars in your rack of guitars, watching the Universal Audio launch of their pedals. So you had James Santiago in his surrounded by beautiful vintage gear and amazing amps, and then you had Tor with some amazing amps and a tribute to the 80s in guitar behind it, some proper kind of metal axes there, and I was like, yeah.
Oh, you like all that, do you? You like all those things?
Tor, is he?
Huh?
Is he a secret? Because to me, he looks like a bit of a hipster, but is he into the shred? You think?
He's a secret shredder.
He does look like a hipster.
I've said to Paul several times.
Somebody wake up CC DeVille.
I've said to Paul several times, a guitar that I want to add to my collection is the new Steve Vai signature Ibanez, because I played one at NAMM and went, this is lovely. I really liked it.
I've got a question for Jack then. Can I just stop you there? Mm-hmm. Jack, what would James Bay do if you turned up to a James Bay gig with a Steve Vai gem? What would he do?
Oh man, that used to come up all the time. I used to say to other, but then again, that's it. There are all this whole world that we've got into, that I've got into, the gear world and NAMM. It made me really aware of like how much people love other stuff. So I'm with you, Paul. But because I used to say that to PRS, there'd be loads of guys who'd be like, I want to become a pop session player. And I'd be like, don't buy a PRS. And they'd be like, what? But they're great. And I'm like, I know, but they don't represent it. Yeah, no one would ever thank you in the pop world for turning up with a PRS.
I think that's changing. I do think that's changing. I think they've done really well over the last few years with
Mayer.
Yeah.
But yeah, and even in the studio, like if someone turned up with a PRS, maybe, but that's because again, it shows me that I look to the past for my inspiration. You know, I want to look to that old guitar.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm regurgitating the past, so I totally get that.
But
I'm completely with you.
But is that not because? And again, this is me throwing it out there rather than actually stating my own personal opinion. Is it not just because there are actually only about 4 or 5 types of guitar out there? There's a Les Paul, there's a Strat, there's a Tele, there's a 335, there's some kind of big jazz hollow body thing. Mm-hmm. Everything else is an amalgamation of those 5 things. So actually, the studio guitar player turns up with a good Tele, a good Les Paul, a good Strat. That's probably what they need in their. That's what I've gone for here. They don't need a Super Strat because a Super Strat is just a Strat. Mm-hmm. They don't need a twin.
It's hard, isn't it?
Thing because they've got the guitar that's trying to be. Because in the studio, it doesn't matter what it looks like. They're going to be sat down, probably. They're not going to be jumping around like a lunatic. That's for stage. In the studio, they're probably going to be playing. It's like when people go, you know, if I want it to sound like, it sounds a bit like a Strat. Well, if you want it to sound like a Strat, play a Strat.
But Mike says there, Tim Pierce equals PRS. Now, I would argue, Mike, no, not argue, but I think that like now he can play PRS, but at the beginning of almost any relationship in the studio, those things, those familiar things and those familiar shapes, I'm sure that they wouldn't. I don't know that if someone turned up, like Rocco Palladino turned up to do some bass the other day, Pino's son.
Yeah.
And we kind of had a little bit of that where he just got out this really weird 5-string fretless bass. Mm-hmm. that no one had ever seen before, and it gets all a little bit scary in the room because we know he's a killer player, but like the artist is thinking, yeah, but what?
I want to defend the jazz. Is what they're thinking in their head.
Yeah, but that shows you how, and a lot of people don't really. I'm just being honest about what happens in the room is that people are still thinking with their eyes and their expectations, and part of your job, and a bit like in the studio, right? People like seeing the desk. I bet, James, people were calmer when they walked in your room and they saw a desk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back when we used to have clients, you know.
But don't you think so? So I think PRS. I mean, it was the '90s new metal guitar. So every new metal band played PRS. So they became. Yeah, exactly.
Jack Kroger plays a PRS is enough to put anybody off playing a PRS.
Jack Kroger, yeah, he has had oh, bless him, he's had a bit of a hard time from people.
So you have to, at DGT, if you have to explain it, it's already too late. I find a lot in the studio, and in crunch moments, part of your job is reaching for the tool that needs no explanation.
Yeah. No, I mean,
brave.
What's that? Sorry, mate. What'd you say?
You've got to be really brave. Like when I go for an esoteric technique, or even like vary speed shit I was talking about.
Yeah.
I have to have it almost prepped and ready to go, because I can feel everyone get on edge. Like, what's he doing? What's that?
Yeah. So it's a PRS. You know, it was like the '90s new metal guitar, and then it became completely out of fashion, and then. You know, he started bringing out these amazing figured tops. So it became like a visual thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're amazing guitars. They are amazing guitars. But it came, you know, like figured tops. And then people who weren't guitar players or who weren't serious guitar players started buying them because they look great. So it's like that's something you can hang on the wall if you are. I mean, the classic thing is, and it's such a cliche, the PRS and dentist. That's, you know, like that's you play the PRS, and that has changed, but it's true. If you go and buy a secondhand PRS, the chances are that PRS is in perfect condition because it's never been played or rarely been played. Such a strange thing.
But what's funny, say, I mean, I've got not an enormous guitar collection, but I've probably got 10, 12 guitars in here. Of which the Les Paul, the Strat, and the Telly are the ones that come out all the time, because generally, and this is a Tim Pierce thing, for rhythm parts, I use a humbucker guitar because they sit back foot, tend to sit better in the mix, and for leads, I put a single coil on because it tends to jump forward and bite in the mix a bit more. That's not a hard and fast rule, because sometimes you want that kind of oozy Les Paul-y kind of solo sound, but generally I'm playing those three guitars. If I want something that sounds a little bit different, occasionally I might reach for the Eggle, or I've got a couple of weird things down there. I've got that amazing Italian Echo guitar from 1960 something.
But funny enough, if you brought that cheap old Italian Echo out at a James Bay concert, or you brought out your Eggle, James Bay would go, yeah, great. That Echo looks cool.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas turning up with a 7-string Ibanez would. I say I like them for flavour. They do have a sound. They do a thing. It's like all guitars have a flavour. That's why people have 6 or 7 different Les Pauls, 6 or 7 different Strats. They all have a thing. They all have a moment that touches your musical emotions and brings out a certain song. I think it was, oh God, Andy Sneap, who I chatted with years ago now, Clang name drop. And he said if a guitar can bring out a song, it's worth it. Which is why he's got, you know, I saw about 25 different Flying V style guitars in his studio. He said, I love Flying V's and I've written a song on all of them.
Great.
I was like, if that's your I find that with new instruments sometimes, like a new percussion instrument will give me a new idea for a groove. Or I bought a mandolin because I wanted to learn a bit of mandolin. I thought that might just chuck me a song out of it. And that's exactly where I've gone with instruments. All of these instruments have had at least one or two, I'll say songs. I won't say decent songs because that's very much in other people's opinions. But I know where I'm going.
I can't wait till we can get round people's houses and we can do this
and play
and really slate each other's guitars in person.
I think I am looking forward to so well. I'm looking forward to.
Should we do show and tell next week?
Yeah,
you've got. I mean, I don't even know what guitars you've got.
Should we do like
a killer guitar?
Well, but we could do like one a week where we're like,
let's do
that.
This is my it's a great idea. I'm up for that.
Maybe it's a bit, but I like the fact that we're not going to get a good reaction from everyone.
No, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's definitely do that. Right, we should CC Guitar.
Yeah,
as put in a. Sorry, I hope I'm not missing any. Hold on. No, safe. He says Fender or Sir, Mustangs, Jazzmaster or Jaguars. I see becoming very visible again with the shoegazer, ambient, and post rock wave. Yeah. It's so true. What are your thoughts?
New Harmony Silhouette. Andertons are stocking them. That's my recommendation for an offset.
Are they? Oh, they're stocking them, are they?
Unbelievable.
Have they got the small bodies?
Small body, but offset, gold foils, and it comes with a mono bag in the price.
That's yeah, because the company own mono, don't they?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. America made guitar for under 900 quid.
Yeah, unreal. They're going to sell loads.
Who's
Yeah.
that again? Run the name by me. Harmony.
What's the model? They do a few. They've got about 4 or 5.
Do you know which you'll see? Which is kind of a stout little kind of tiny thing, but the Silhouette seems to be the one where, because with gold foils, I love that sound, and they do one with mini Firebird pickups. Really cool. Like, just again, that guitar that if you want an oddball, an offset guitar, it might be like that, but it'll stay in tune a bit better, not with weird switches.
Yeah.
All right.
I really want a Johnny Marr Jag.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, and every time I go,
they solve problems.
Yeah, every time I go guitar shopping, or every time I think, do you know what?
And I want a sustainer. I want a Sustainiac pickup like the Ed O'Brien one. I want to just try it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind one of them.
Do you know what? I tried these at, I think it was the London, the bass and guitar show last year, because they were opposite our booth, and I tried one. I went, ooh, it looks weird, but they play really nicely. And I still can't get over the look of them because they do look blooming odd.
Yeah, they were weird back in the day, like Harmony. I've got a Harmony Sovereign from the 60s.
Oh,
that's
nice.
been recording, which is like the Led Zeppelin Stairway guitar.
Is it?
Right.
Yeah. And Ryan Adams. I love Ryan Adams.
Yeah.
CC Guitar's got a question definitely for you, Paul, I reckon.
Yeah, let me just, I'm trying to load up all the harmonies. Ooh, which one? What's the Silhouette? That's the
I like the Silhouette.
Silhouette does look nice. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, nice. Okay, where are we? Hold on. I've lost everyone. Right. CC Guitar says, hi guys, I'm playing lead guitar in a young band, 14 to 16. We're stuck down the power chord pentatonic trap. Any tips on finding your own sound, or any tips in general? Thanks. Really good question.
So was I. I didn't get up. It's good you've even realised during that trap. I didn't realise.
My advice would be learn some bar chords. Learn the bar chord rules.
Yeah.
I want to say he's already there, isn't he?
Yeah, but power chords is just that, isn't it? It's just chug.
Okay, yeah.
Whereas you actually learn your positions, learn the fact that you're one finger away from a minor, one finger away from a 7, two fingers from a minor 7. All of a sudden, you start to go, oh, this all makes sense. So then you learn it in what I'm going to refer to as the E position, and then you realize knocking it all over, it becomes the A position, and you go, oh, hello. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, you start to open up a world of chords that are not just root 5th octave power chords.
I've got a tip for that. I think so. So your power chord is obviously, you know, root and fifth and a octave if you want to put it on the top. Take your, instead of playing a power chord like that. Oh, where am I? Can everyone see me? If I move this way, that's better.
Okay.
Yeah. Play a power chord like that.
Here he goes.
And add. Now you can move that around. You can move that shape around. And if you play a minor, you can even stretch it up a little bit more. You can stretch up that little finger to go. Let me, if I do it on acoustic, maybe it might sound a bit better. So for instance, if I play something like. It's much more interesting going. If that's a tip.
Cool.
Open strings as well. That sort of stuff.
That's that whole we were talking about favorite chords. The chords you play.
And Cece, when I think back to that time, one of the big revelations for me was I really didn't understand being in the key of, and I didn't know. I just learnt the chords to the songs I wanted, and it was like a parrot thing. I'd learn it, or we'd learn something together. But a big thing for me was realizing that if a song is in C, that there are only 7 notes in that scale, and there are only 7 chords. And if you can see it, if you can get your head around that, then that is the toolbox for every song ever. Diatonic Harmony. And maybe if you don't know what Diatonic Harmony, just type it in and watch some videos on it. Rick Beato is pretty good at it. But I think and a lot of guitar players I know still don't really grasp that. On keyboard, we get it.
And the other thing, of course, is that there are only 3 major chords in that in each key. You've got the root, the fourth, and the fifth are your major chords, and all the rest are minors.
And you're like, that's cool. That chilled me right out. I used to think it was this never-ending puzzle I'd never solve, and then when I found out it was just that, I was like, oh, I can just do this over and over again.
Yeah, all of a sudden, then you go, hang on, that works. It's funny. When I write on keyboards, I write very kind of minor, heavy, kind of deep, interesting chords. If I write on guitar, it's a bit more happy and a bit more lively, and a bit more straightforward. Because I can see the harmony on keyboards. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I don't see it on guitar.
And Paul, I thought of you this week because. What about that Rhodes you've got there? Is it in good working order?
Yeah, it's got one sticky key that I need to just get in and just adjust something.
I get that sorted out. Can I borrow that for a Anderton's blindfold Rhodes?
Yeah, of course you can, mate. Of course you can.
I took my Wurlitzer in for a blindfold Wurlitzer, but then I didn't know. I don't have a Rhodes and then I thought, oh, Paul's got one.
Yeah, of course, mate. Yeah.
That'd be right. Thanks,
yeah,
man.
yeah, definitely weighs a ton. It's so heavy.
Yeah, man. But they're calling for it. The Andertons crowd are calling for a real Rose.
Yeah, yeah, of course, mate. Yeah, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. Maybe I tell you what. Tell Lee you can do that if I can borrow a quad Cortex.
Yes. There we go.
No, of course, mate. Yeah, whenever you want to borrow it, just let me know, mate. It's literally sat back there. It doesn't get used, so please use it.
Okay.
Please use it.
Thank you.
What was I saying? Yeah, but also let's not dismiss the whole. You know, if you listen to AC/DC,
yeah,
I mean AC/DC is like one of the best bands in the world as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pentatonic and sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
I think you can do so much with the pentatonic.
I was surprised as a piano player. All the guitar chords I first learnt on my own were the open, things, and then you come late to the bar chord party. Whereas people who tend to learn guitar first are down with the bar chords. And then when you were talking about AC/DC, I was like, I think that those open chords down the bottom as well, CC, like they may seem a bit lame or a bit folky, but they're so esoteric and odd in shape that I think there's loads of good stuff down there.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
And another thing that can get you out of a rut and can get you into some new voicings and things, as St. Paul and I were talking about today.
Yeah.
That baby's your friend.
One Christmas present for the last 5 years, the Spider Capo.
Yeah. Have you got one?
I buy them for all my guitarist mates. I'll get you one.
How long have I known you? Well, obviously not a mate. I've never had one.
Well, I've always been at Christmas. I was always so stressed when I saw it. Just down in Litchfield, just withholding money.
There he is. There he is. Someone's got to get him in. CC Guitar, if you've got the Katana question, mate, just don't worry about it. If you want to ask a question, just ask away. We're more than happy answering.
We didn't get around to seeing Analog for Life's big rig.
Unbelievable.
Because next week, those 1176s. I mean, that's half an hour right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some gear.
Got some serious toys.
Yeah, I'll have a think. Let's have a think about CC Guitar's question as well. There might be a way. Have a look at sort of D, like changing weird tunings. Not even weird tunings, like drop D and stuff. Just there's so much you can do that takes your brain away from
the norm, the convention.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we all get stuck in a rut. In a rut. I'm definitely. I've been feeling this week that I'm completely stuck in a rut. But I always think that push through it, and eventually you will.
Yeah. Find
your path out of it. Yeah, if we can think of anything else, would definitely. I love that.
Lando's we've got instructions here. I personally love playing that F shape around the neck on the D, G, B, and hitting the root on the low E with my thumb and muting the A string. Now this is where I realise I'm a keyboard player.
What does that look like? Shape around the neck on the D, G, and B, right?
Yeah, that.
Are we talking like ringing?
Like that, yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, nice.
I guess.
Or F shape, like the full bar, is it?
You can get interesting. Jimmy Jams.
It's like Tales of the Unexpected all over again.
Yeah, Josh Smith is the best at explaining how to go. Josh Smith, what a player. Unbelievable player.
Crap guitar, though.
Huh? Yeah, we don't like his guitar, do we? A bit of an odd tune got me out of a rut. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's so true. Listen to a variety of music. Definitely, Mike. Yeah. Not a full bar. Paul had it. Well, like that. Yeah. Hold on. Can't see me because the studio rats.
And Paul, one of my favourites, that C, but with the G on the bottom, underused.
Oh, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, adding lovely notes like that. Oh, I like things like the this guitar's a bit out of tune.
Oh, so yeah.
Dropping certain notes.
That's real piano stuff, that.
Yeah. It's very piano, isn't it? Yeah.
It's very Rosanna.
Yeah. It is. Definitely.
Anyway.
Right.
It comes to something when you're trying to explain polyphonic keyboard parts with your voice, which is only
There's a plugin for that.
Yeah, there's fingers for that. We really want to see those fingers.
When will the next Studio Rat song with Abby? Good vibes. Abby, yeah, unfortunately about Abby is that Abby, she and not only is she an amazing singer, but she also does she does caring as well for elderly people and occasionally kids and stuff. She's a really lovely girl that does that sort of stuff. So
we can't go anywhere near her.
We can't go anywhere near at the moment.
But right, okay. but she's just like an angel.
What's that? She's just like an angel.
She's got an amazing voice, and she sounds like a. Is that not on the cards, Paul?
Am I going to do some matchmaking here? Is this? Yeah.
A matchmaker, make
All right,
me.
I'll get her on next week. And you can
do that on the street.
Go, hi.
But like throwing in like guests talking about MIDI and protocols.
The thing is, I've seen some of the stuff that you get up to, and I'm just a little bit nervous to introduce someone as lovely as Abby.
I mean, that was many moons ago. I'm a changed man now.
I think Abby could hold her own against
She definitely can. Yeah. Right, should we and as soon as COVID's over,
I'm taking her out.
Huh? Yeah, Jack will be taking her out, and then we'll do a song with her.
or we'll never see her again.
Right, should we call it a day?
I think it's time to go home to our respective significant others. Sorry, Jack.
I'll just go back to my screwdriver set.
Any Jimmy Jams?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Hold on. That's all. Mike's done it now.
And I was doing so well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure as always. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you to Michele for joining us.
Can I just say, CC Guitar, if that Katana question, just send me a message if you want me to answer anything, or just come on next week and please ask the question. Honestly, don't worry if it's a question that's been asked before and stuff.
There's no such thing as silly questions, just silly answers from us.
Absolutely.
And with that, it is time for us to sign off for the night because there's beers to be drunk and Jack's in his PJs already. So put the skin away. Anyway, we will see you next week for more craziness. Take care, everyone. Have a good week and stay safe and all that sort of stuff. See you soon. Night,
guys. Good night.